A pivotal ruling on wages by the Fair Work Commission tomorrow will set the stage for a potential rate hike on by the RBA next week. We saw yesterday the annual inflation figures to April rise to 6.8%. This is higher than expected. The Treasurer, though, Jenna, points out, or he says, that underlying inflation is actually falling, and it's the fuel excise coming off that has led to these figures. Do you think the RBA will have no choice but to lift rates again next week for the 12th time?
Well, I think, Sharri, it's going to come down to the fact that they're going to have to hike the interest rates next week because, again, at the end of the day, you can sort of word salad this as much as you want, but inflation has increased. And I think the only way that they're going to quell it is one of the major levers that the RBA can pull is, of course, an interest rate hike. So I think that we're probably going to... I'm not an economist, but I've spoken to a lot and I've read some of the financial press today, and it all signs appear that we will have an interest rate hike for the 12th time next week.
Look, the RBA Governor, Phillip Lowe, is also getting a bit of heat today for claiming that one of the ways to solve the unaffordable housing crisis is for people to live with more flatmates or live at home for longer. He's been slammed for these remarks, including a front page on the Adelaide Advertiser. Doesn't this show, Jenna, just how out of touch he is, that this is his solution to house prices becoming too expensive for the younger generation?
Yeah, it's a bit rich when we hear from a bloke who probably lives as an empty nester in the affluent suburb of Randwick in Sydney that got a bit of a mate's rate when it came to his home loan back in the day. So yeah, it is a bit rich. Full kudos to Gemma Jones and the Adelaide Advertiser team. That was a great front page today. But again, once again, he just seems so out of touch with how most Australians are feeling. But also on top of that, it's not really like cost of living has been front and centre for the government this week. Sure, the voice vote has been really important, getting it through the lower house. But I just don't know when we're going to... We've only really got 2 sitting weeks until the winter recess kicks in. So potentially we'll get more of a focus on that then. But who knows? I don't think it's something that the government really want to talk about either.
Yeah. News today that Mike Pence, former Vice President to Donald Trump, he's expected to announce he's running for president next week. He enters the race. There's already Trump, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tim Scott, Asa Hutchinson. There seems to be more credible Republican candidates than there are Democrats.
That's really interesting. I was thinking the exact same thing because you kind of look at the Democrat side and they basically look like my beloved West Coast Eagles team. They're an old, ageing side that can't even get a win on the board. I mean, all you've really got is Joe Biden saying, yeah, I'm going to put my hand up and run again. And it seems to be that the Democrats have got no fresh blood. I mean, albeit neither do the Republicans when you've got, already run, such as Mike Pence, Donald Trump and the like running again. But I think it's only going to be a massive win for either social media or the mainstream media in the States because I think that Republican primary is going to be one interesting race next year.